You might not realize it yet, but Adidas was once a brand teetering on the edge of obscurity. Not long ago, its iconic stripes seemed less like a symbol of culture and more like a relic of the past. People wore Adidas, yes, but it no longer commanded the kind of respect or desire that could spark conversations in the streets, in the clubs, or on social media. But then something extraordinary happened. Adidas didn't just return, it reclaimed its throne in style and relevance. Before we dive in, if you enjoy uncovering stories like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button and leave a like. It keeps stories like these coming. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, Adidas was struggling with identity. Its once sharp focus on innovation and sports performance was blurred by inconsistent branding and the rise of competitors who seemed cooler, younger, and more in tune with street culture. Nike had cornered the market with celebrity endorsements and cutting-edge marketing campaigns, while Puma and Reebok experimented with trends that sometimes worked, but often missed the mark. Adidas, despite its deep history, risked fading into irrelevance. It wasn't always obvious that Adidas was in trouble. On the surface, the brand still had strong sales and a recognizable logo. But beneath the surface, there were cracks. Decisions made by management often contradicted the pulse of youth culture. Adidas had become a brand of comfort and familiarity. But familiarity doesn't win hearts. It doesn't make people excited or passionate. People were wearing the shoes, but they weren't talking about them. And in the world of fashion and streetwear, that's a death sentence. The turning point came when Adidas realized that survival meant embracing risk and redefining what the brand could represent. They didn't just need a new product, they needed a story, a narrative that would connect with culture on multiple levels. This wasn't just about shoes or apparel, it was about identity, influence, and perception. They had to remind the world that Adidas was more than athletic gear. It was a statement. One of the first major moves in this transformation was a return to roots with a modern twist. Classic silhouettes like the Superstar, Stan Smith, and Gazelle were reintroduced. But this time, they weren't just retro throwbacks. They became canvases for collaborations, limited editions, and cultural commentary. Partnerships with artists, designers, and musicians, names like Pharrell Williams, Kanye West, and Alexander Wang, turned Adidas products into objects of desire. The shoes became collectible items, conversation starters, and status symbols, bridging the gap between sports, fashion, and music. But the strategy wasn't just about high-profile collaborations. Adidas dug deep into storytelling that resonated with authenticity. The brand highlighted athletes and creators who represented perseverance, individuality, and style beyond mere athletic performance. Campaigns focused on personal journeys, challenges overcome, and cultural impact. Adidas positioned itself as a brand that celebrated originality while staying grounded in performance excellence. Meanwhile, streetwear culture was exploding. Sneakers were no longer just gear for athletes, they were a language of identity. Limited releases, hype drops, and collaborations became essential elements of brand power. Adidas tapped into this energy masterfully. Unlike competitors who sometimes appeared opportunistic, Adidas's moves felt calculated, yet authentic. Every collaboration told a story, connected to a moment, or honored a legacy. Fans didn't just buy shoes. They bought into a narrative, a connection to culture that made them feel seen and part of something bigger. Innovation also played a critical role. Adidas invested in technology that enhanced both performance and aesthetics. Boost cushioning, prime knit uppers, and sustainable materials weren't just technical achievements. They were marketing marvels that fused science and style. Adidas showed that innovation could be beautiful, functional, and relevant, breaking the false dichotomy that high-tech athletic wear had to look clinical or uninspiring. This wasn't just about comfort. It was about desirability, making people feel smart, stylish, and in the know. Simultaneously, Adidas recognized the power of digital storytelling. Social media became a battlefield, and Adidas showed it understood the rules. Instead of generic ads, they created moments that fans could share, react to, and discuss. Limited releases dropped with viral teasers. Behind-the-scenes stories of designers and collaborators drew audiences in, and platforms like Instagram and YouTube became stages for brand theater. This wasn't marketing for the sake of marketing. It was culture creation, and the audience became both participant and witness. The company also learned to leverage scarcity and exclusivity without alienating its base. Adidas embraced limited editions, capsule collections, and surprise drops, but always in a way that honored the brand's heritage and community. Fans didn't just crave the product, they craved the story and the feeling of being part of an inner circle. The hype was real, but it was anchored in authenticity rather than hype alone. At the same time, Adidas made strategic decisions in the sports world that amplified its cultural footprint. Sponsorships, endorsements, and partnerships with athletes who were not just skilled but culturally influential allowed Adidas to inhabit multiple worlds simultaneously. On one hand, it dominated traditional sports markets with professional credibility. On the other, it infiltrated lifestyle, streetwear, and music scenes with relevance that no longer felt forced. Adidas wasn't just a shoe, it was a symbol of modern identity, a bridge between worlds that were once seen as separate. This transformation wasn't linear, and it certainly wasn't guaranteed. There were missteps, experiments that failed, and campaigns that didn't land. But the brand learned to move with agility, adapt to feedback, and embrace experimentation as a core value. Every success was built on a foundation of calculated risk, cultural insight, and relentless storytelling. Adidas didn't just chase trends, it created them, and in doing so, it reclaimed a sense of authority that had once been slipping away. The story of Adidas's resurgence is also inseparable from its ability to read culture in real time. In a world where trends emerge overnight, brands must be nimble, responsive, and above all, authentic. Adidas didn't just chase the hype, they anticipated it, often positioning themselves one step ahead. When the sneakerhead community started obsessing over limited runs and unique textures, Adidas was already experimenting with bold materials, colorways, and collaborations that felt organic rather than contrived. Every drop told a story that fans could instantly connect with, fueling excitement, discussion, and social proof. Another key factor was their embrace of diversity and inclusivity in ways that felt genuine. Adidas understood that style is not just about design, it's about who you are and how you express yourself. Campaigns celebrated individuals across backgrounds, disciplines, and subcultures, giving the brand a cultural richness that felt current and relatable. Instead of relying solely on celebrity endorsements, Adidas highlighted creators who were influential in their communities, bridging micro-influence with mass appeal. This approach not only broadened their reach but deepened emotional engagement with the audience. In the background, Adidas also quietly restructured internally to match its external ambitions. Leadership emphasized cross-functional collaboration, blending design, marketing, and product teams into cohesive units capable of fast, responsive decision-making. The focus shifted from pure sales metrics to cultural relevance and storytelling. Data became a tool for understanding audience sentiment and predicting trends, rather than just measuring past performance. This alignment of purpose and strategy created a feedback loop where every campaign, release, or innovation could be evaluated not just for profitability, but for its resonance with culture. One remarkable aspect of Adidas's comeback is how it merged nostalgia with modernity. Classics like the Superstar or Stan Smith became platforms for reinterpretation. Collaborations with high-fashion designers or streetwear icons weren't just about aesthetics. They were conversations between generations. Fans who grew up with Adidas could relive their past in a contemporary way, while younger audiences discovered the brand as exciting, fresh, and culturally attuned. This duality created a timeless appeal, positioning Adidas as both heritage brand and trendsetter simultaneously. Sustainability also entered the narrative as a compelling dimension of relevance. Adidas recognized early that consumers were increasingly conscious of environmental impact. By integrating recycled materials, innovative production methods, and transparent messaging, Adidas wasn't just selling shoes. It was offering a statement about values. This reinforced the sense that wearing Adidas was a reflection of identity, ethics, and awareness, adding layers of meaning to what could have otherwise been just another product. In the competitive landscape of streetwear and performance wear, Adidas also leveraged the power of storytelling through limited editions and narrative-rich collaborations. Each release became an event, a moment, a story that fans wanted to be part of. Some campaigns referenced historical milestones, others celebrated contemporary artists or subcultures, but all shared a common thread. They made consumers feel connected, informed, and inspired. Adidas had mastered the art of creating anticipation without feeling manipulative. The hype was authentic because the story was authentic. Yet, beneath the marketing brilliance, Adidas never lost sight of performance. Shoes weren't just fashionable, they were functional. Boost technology, prime knit fabrics, and other innovations ensured that Adidas remained competitive in athletics, preserving credibility in the space that originally built the brand's reputation. This balance between performance and style allowed Adidas to operate in multiple spheres at once, appealing to both athletes and culture enthusiasts without alienating either. It was a strategic genius move that created a holistic brand identity. Adidas' comeback also shines as a case study in timing and patience. The brand didn't rush into every trend or follow competitors blindly. Instead, it observed, analyzed, and chose strategic moments to reassert itself. When a collaboration dropped, it felt deliberate. When a retro release returned, it was celebrated rather than overlooked. Every action communicated thoughtfulness, precision, and cultural literacy. In a way, Adidas taught an entire generation that success isn't just about being first. It is about being meaningful, relevant, and memorable. But the story is more than just products and campaigns. It's about connection. Adidas reclaimed style because it listened to the cultural heartbeat, responded with authenticity, and honored both its heritage and the desires of a new generation. Fans no longer see Adidas as just a label. They see it as a statement, a reflection of who they are and who they aspire to be. In reclaiming its position, Adidas didn't merely adapt. It became a cultural catalyst, shaping conversations, influencing tastes, and setting standards. Behind every strategic decision, every creative collaboration, and every technological innovation, there's a story of resilience. Adidas faced challenges, missteps, and moments of doubt, but the brand's comeback demonstrates the power of persistence, vision, and cultural intelligence. What once seemed like a slow fade into irrelevance transformed into a story of reinvention, influence, and leadership in style and performance. As we look back on Adidas's journey, one thing becomes clear: the brand's comeback was never accidental. Every decision, from collaborations to marketing campaigns, from technology investments to cultural positioning, was part of a deliberate strategy to reclaim relevance. But beyond strategy, there's an emotional story here. Adidas reminded the world, and perhaps reminded itself, why it mattered. The three stripes weren't just a logo. They were a symbol of identity, resilience, and creativity. What makes Adidas's resurgence truly fascinating is the way it balances paradoxes. The brand is simultaneously heritage and innovation, mainstream and niche, athletic and stylish. It demonstrates that a company can honor its past while actively shaping its future. This duality is what sets Adidas apart from competitors who often sacrifice one dimension for the other. Nike may dominate hype, Puma may chase trends, but Adidas found a rhythm that feels natural, authentic, and enduring. we can also see lessons that extend beyond sneakers and apparel. Adidas' comeback is a study in cultural intelligence, understanding what people value, listening to communities, and responding with authenticity. It shows the power of storytelling and emotional resonance in a world crowded with products. Consumers today are not just buying shoes, they are buying identity, values, and experiences. Adidas recognized that early and leaned into it, creating a feedback loop where culture fuels commerce and commerce fuels culture. Perhaps most importantly, Adidas's story reminds us that relevance is not static. It must be earned continuously. Trends shift, communities evolve, and what resonates today may feel outdated tomorrow. Adidas built a system that allows it to adapt without losing authenticity. It fosters creativity, embraces risk, and leverages partnerships while remaining true to its core principles. In doing so, it reclaimed not just style, but influence, credibility, and aspiration. Looking forward, Adidas's journey continues to inspire. The brand now operates in a space where every decision, from material innovation to designer collaboration, has the potential to shape culture. It's a brand that understands the stakes of modern identity, the nuances of subculture, and the emotional weight of heritage. Every sneaker drop, every campaign, every story told reinforces that Adidas is not just back. It is defining what it means to be stylish, influential, and meaningful in today's world. The comeback of Adidas is a lesson in patience, insight, and courage. It's proof that even a global brand can rediscover its soul, align with culture, and reclaim a place in the hearts and minds of fans. From near-obscurity to cultural dominance, the journey shows that style is not just about aesthetics. It's about connection, storytelling, and authenticity. Adidas reclaimed more than fashion. It reclaimed relevance itself. So next time you see those 3 stripes, remember, they're more than a logo. They're a symbol of a comeback built on vision, culture, and unwavering persistence. Subscribe to stay inspired by stories that reveal how brands, ideas, and culture shape our world.